The new Mila Kunis movie features a graphic rape scene. Does it do more harm than good? Show caption hide caption, Luckiest Girl Alive. Trailer. Mila Kunis stars in the Netflix thriller. The official trailer for Luckiest Girl Alive, starring Justine Lupe, Scoot McNairy, Mila Kunis, Jennifer Beals and Connie Britton. Eva. Movie trailers. Eva. Movie trailers. Spoiler alert. The post below discusses the highlights of the new Luckiest Girl Alive movie. So watch out if you haven't watched it yet. Mila Kunis' new movie is #1 on Netflix. However, he divides the audience in two with a controversial scene, based on author Jessica Knoll's 2015 book of the same name. Luckiest Girl Alive follows Ani FaNelli, Kunis, a 14-year-old gang-raped and seemingly perfect and reunited New Yorker who survives a high school. It begins to dissolve. All her life she was accused of being a victim by her own mother, shamed as a slut by her classmates, and quietly forced to take responsibility for her own attacks. Kunis' latest film garnered widespread support for its sobering portrayal of the trauma of rape that Knoll wrote based on her own experience. But critics questioned the necessity of not one, but 3 graphic rape scenes. User MimieLaushi warned, "Don't watch Luckiest Girl Alive. The scenes are too triggering." Another user lalakaris said, "I felt uncomfortable during one part of the movie. And rightfully so. Because we should be uncomfortable blaming the victims for what happened. Recreating rape on screen has long been controversial. Game of Thrones, and more recently, Netflix's Blonde, have faced backlash for depictions of what it calls exploitation of sexual violence. But can these scenes be of educational value if the goal is to accurately portray a survivor's experience? Karyn Riddle, a professor in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, explores the effects of viewing violent media. After watching the movie herself, the scenes do not seem superfluous, she says. "We know that visual violence grabs people's attention. They cause strong emotional reactions," says Riddle. However, stories don't need to be graphic to convey their insight. A rape scene doesn't need to be graphic to learn a positive lesson. Women in Pain. How? Dragon House, Traded, Thrones, Sexual Violence for Birth Trauma. How graphic rape scenes can trigger trauma. Contrary to some critical moments in HBO's Game of Thrones, Ani's sexual assault is a pivotal plotline as she learns to process years of repressed trauma. Knoll, who produced the film and enlisted the help of the Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network, RAINN, for the scenes, said the goal was to show that the movie was really bad, without needing to minimize the experience. However, even with good intentions, experts questioned the need for multiple disturbing rape scenes that lasted about 3 minutes total. Research has shown that just watching an act of sexual violence on screen can be enough to trigger neurological trauma responses. Sonia Martinez-Ortiz, as managing director of the Rape Rescue Center, voices these concerns. Scenes like this can trigger a trauma response because your body system is recognizing that there is a perceived threat or fear. It doesn't matter if it's real or perceived, because our bodies can react as if it's a real threat. And so people can experience a range of traumatic responses. Column 13 Reasons Why Suicide Spreads Like a Disease. Trigger but necessary. The rape scenes in Luckiest Girl Alive are hard to watch. But that might be the point. Being sexually assaulted is supposed to make you uncomfortable and angry. On Twitter, many viewers agreed that the movie is a very stimulating but extremely necessary story. More than statistics, visual images can help evoke empathy for the victim and the long-term impact of rape, says Elizabeth Jeglick, professor who studies sexual violence at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Seeing someone who has experienced something traumatic and how it has affected their life can make it more personal, says Jeglick, because when you see how someone influences it, it allows you to humanize them, and that's when the problem becomes more real. But intent is important. If the purpose of including an uncensored rape scene is to educate, safety measures such as consulting psychologists or coordinating with anti-sexual violence organizations are necessary to avoid using education as a license to include graphic depictions. Riddle says, "Do we need graphic rape scenes to spread awareness? Many movies and shows make use of visual nudity and rape for shocking value. Experts say, Luckiest Girl Alive is not one of those movies. The story is told from Ani's point of view. We are not in the mind of the rapist. We are only in his mind. His suffering was very clear, and that made the scene less exploitative for me," says Riddle. However, Jeglick says a 3-minute scene showing gang rape isn't essential to get the message across. They could have shown less, and we can still talk about how rape affected him and his life. The same educational outcomes are likely to be achieved without showing graphic details of a sexually violent act, but rather how it affects the individual. There is a warning at the beginning of the movie that the movie is for ages 18 and up due to violent content, rape, sexual material, as well as substance abuse themes. But some feel clearer trigger alert with a more detailed and larger font. It could have been helpful. Research on the effectiveness of trigger alerts is mixed. Some studies have found that they have the opposite effect of attracting more viewers. Like the lure of a forbidden fruit, Riddle says. But for most vulnerable survivors, a warning can help them protect themselves from re-traumatized. When it comes to sexual assault awareness, Martinez Ortiz says, "We need to go beyond consuming media to address the issue and chat about prevention. The media is just a piece. We need to have these conversations in our communities, in our families, in the classroom. If you are a sexual assault survivor, RAINN offers support through the National Sexual Assault Helpline. 800,656, hopeandonline.rain.org.